On October 7, 2025, the European Space Agency released what it called the first official image of 3I Atlas, an interstellar object captured as it passed near Mars. The world waited for a revelation. Instead, it got a faint, blurry dot and 4 days of silence from every other major space agency. Why did NASA, China, and the UAE hold their silence, while ESA stood alone explaining chemistry that shouldn't exist? A path too perfect, a coma made almost entirely of carbon dioxide. If this was just another comet, why did every answer lead to more questions? This is the story behind the image that changed everything, the first real glimpse of an interstellar visitor, seen not from Earth, but from the red sands of Mars. The discovery began quietly on October 2, 2025, just after 9 in the morning, local Martian time. A small, wide-field camera aboard NASA's Perseverance rover captured something that wasn't supposed to matter. The camera was called SkyCam, a humble color imager designed to monitor dust, clouds, and the Martian horizon. It wasn't built for astronomy. And yet, while the world waited for orbital telescopes to lock on, SkyCam became the first to detect 3I Atlas near Mars. NASA later published the raw image, a faint green-circled speck barely visible against the pale Martian sky. Daylight on Mars is harsh. Dust scatters sunlight, washing out the faintest cosmic visitors. Most people would have missed the object completely if not for the small circle that marked its place. But one person noticed. Mallory Leifeland, Perseverance's shift lead, insisted the camera keep running even as a U.S. government shutdown threatened to pause the mission. She argued that even a weak capture could prove historic, and she was right. That image, time-stamped 9/18 local Mars time, became the first tangible proof that an interstellar object had entered the Martian system, a photograph from the surface of another planet showing something that came from beyond the stars. The next day, October 3rd, brought an extraordinary alignment. 7 spacecraft, each orbiting Mars from a different angle, were perfectly positioned to study 3I Atlas as it passed just 30 million kilometers away. This was no ordinary flyby. It was a cosmic coincidence, a network of eyes converging for one fleeting moment. Each spacecraft brought something unique. HiRISE on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter could capture landscapes sharp enough to reveal rover tracks, but its narrow field made tracking a comet like threading a cosmic needle. CASSIS, aboard ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter, offered flexibility, stacking multiple exposures to trade detail for sensitivity. THEMIS on Odyssey scanned for heat, though comets are rarely warm enough to glow in infrared. Meanwhile, Mars Express contributed 2 spectrometers, Omega and SPECAM, to dissect the comet's chemistry, searching for traces of carbon dioxide, water, or something far stranger. NOMAD, also on the Trace Gas Orbiter, hunted for volatile gases, possible clues to an interstellar origin. China's Tianwen-1 added multispectral and radar imaging, while the UAE's HOPE probe watched the comet's brightness in ultraviolet and optical light. For a few precious hours, Mars became the best observatory in the solar system. On October 7th, ESA finally went public, but instead of a breathtaking portrait, the world got a looping animation, a faint, drifting dot wrapped in a ghostly haze. The footage came from CASSIS, pointed exactly where 3I Atlas was expected to pass. According to Nick Thomas, the instrument's principal investigator, the comet was at least 10,000 times dimmer than normal Martian targets. To protect data integrity, exposures were limited to just 5 seconds per frame. The result? Hours of data condensed into a few seconds of motion, showing not the comet's nucleus, but its coma, a fragile shell of gas and dust thousands of kilometers wide. It faded quickly into the noise. its tail invisible, its composition uncertain. ESA labeled the spectroscopic results inconclusive. The raw data and all Level 1 products were sealed under a 6-month embargo. Only the processed animation was released, a placeholder for deeper truths still locked away. Inside ESA, debate raged. The press office wanted a sharper image, a stronger public statement, but Thomas refused. No filters, no exaggerations, no false colors. The risk of misinterpretation, he warned, is too high. And so the world saw only that dim animation, a whisper of an interstellar visitor passing silently by another world. Then came the silence. No data from NASA, nothing from China, nothing from the UAE. On October 4th, days before ESA's release, mission leaders from all 4 agencies met in a confidential teleconference. What they discussed has never been made public. No transcript, no summary, no leaks. But after that call, data sharing stopped. Every agency went quiet. All we have now is a single image, a faint green circled dot in a dusty Martian sky, and 1,000 unanswered questions. Was 3I Atlas truly interstellar, or something else entirely? Scientists continue to analyze the data, searching for isotopes, signatures, anything that might reveal its true nature. Until the embargo lifts, the truth remains hidden, locked away in the archives of the world's space agencies. Perhaps it was just a comet, ordinary and misunderstood. Or perhaps it was something far rarer, a messenger from the deep between stars. For now, all we know is this: that small flickering image changed how we look at the cosmos, a reminder that sometimes the faintest light in the dark carries the greatest mystery of all. It wasn't on any public calendar, no live stream, no transcript, just a private call. 4 agencies, 1 encrypted line. And then, suddenly, silence. For the next 3 days, every spacecraft watching Mars stopped sending updates. No new images, no spectra, no engineering logs. Only the European Space Agency spoke, releasing a cautious animation and a short statement that said almost nothing. NASA blamed the US government shutdown for the blackout, but that excuse didn't explain the silence from Beijing or Abu Dhabi. China's Tianwen-1 and the UAE's Hope probe both went dark too. Inside ESA, tension grew. Communication officers pushed for a dramatic reveal, the kind of announcement that would match public excitement over an interstellar encounter. But the scientists weren't ready. Internal notes warned of premature interpretation and anomalous readings and potential for misdirection. The language sounded less like science and more like crisis management. Memos were rewritten again and again. Every mention of unusual chemistry or unexpected optical effects or non-standard polarization quietly disappeared. In their place came vague promises, phrases like analysis in progress and results under internal review. The silence wasn't just about what was shown, it was about what wasn't. ESA locked away the raw CASIS datasets under its 6-month embargo rule. Even the summary statistics, the polarization curves, the spectroscopic ratios were trimmed to the bare minimum. NASA's Perseverance team released nothing beyond the annotated Skycam frame. All media inquiries were redirected to headquarters. China's Tianwen-1 and the UAE Hope probe both went dark too. The rhythm of science, the constant flow of data, quick-look images, engineering updates came to a stop. Analysts who track interagency behavior noticed the pattern immediately. Space agencies compete, they don't coordinate their silence. The last time this happened, it was during near-Earth asteroid events, cases where early data could cause panic if misinterpreted. But 3I/Atlas wasn't an asteroid. It wasn't a threat. it was supposed to be a comet. So what kind of discovery could make four rival agencies hold their breath? Some believe the silence came from fear of misreading faint signals, or worse, triggering sensational headlines about artificial origins. Others whispered of deeper scientific conflict, disagreements over how to classify the strange chemistry appearing in the first spectral data. The embargo, the redactions, the cautious tone, all of it pointed to one thing. Something in the raw numbers didn't fit. The expectation of open science had collided with the reality of uncertainty. Behind the wall of caution, the data waited for a verdict.